Good morning. My name is Eli, and this channel is called Life of Eli. And I wanted to share some thoughts that are upon my mind this morning. First of all, thank you for taking the few minutes to watch my video, and I'll try to be very brief. But I'm really troubled by something, and it is something that I'm hearing in the videos by uh, I have Marwa and the Muanga, and that is it. For reasons that nobody has ever explained, which I will attempt to explain today. These are people that are Africans, are blacks, and somehow they decided that being a black person is something undesirable. So they tripwalk to Asia, they tripwalk to Europe in search of white people or Asians to marry, and they despise the whole black race. It's like, well, we prefer to marry somebody to date white women or to date Asians. And the last time the last time that I checked, black people who do that, whether it's here in America or in Africa, are full of self hatred. They have been beaten down by colonialism. They have been beaten down by the influence of Western European culture, and a lot of them have the attitude that it's not as good to be a black person as it is to be a white person, and so they consider it proof of their great success in life if they go ahead and find themselves a white mate or a mate that isn't black. So and you look at somebody like Dee Mongo. Apparently, she wears either makeup or skin lightening substances, and she has the ends of her hair dyed blonde. And Mawar openly says that he likes white women and everything, and you know, there's nothing wrong with liking white women. I live in the West. I live in the United States, and I have gone through periods of time in which I dated white women, but at the same time, at the end of the day, I couldn't marry outside of the black race. Why? Because to me, God made nothing more beautiful than a black woman, and that's in my opinion. But I also happen to have a healthy sense of self love. I happen to love black skins. I think women are very beautiful when they're dark skinned. But those that have had the aesthetics of the white community beaten into their head look at a black woman and they don't see a beautiful woman. They see somebody who's ugly. They see somebody who's less desirable. And they may have all of the excuses in the world about wanting to make it easier for themselves to enter countries and everything. That's a lot of rubbish. That's a lot of rubbish. I see Africans who have dark wives from Africa who travel all over the world and enter anywhere that they want to. What it comes down to is self hatred. White culture has taught us that a thin nose, thin lips, and a pale skin and straight hair is beautiful, and that everything else is ugly. And a lot of us have internalized that, especially so-called educated black people. So you have them making complete and total fools out of themselves, running around the world, chasing after people who don't really want them. One of the most pathetic things that I noticed about Marwa is that he was unaware of the fact that he was being mocked when he was around a lot of Indians. A lot of the time, Indians, especially the old fashioned ones, the ones that are fairly ignorant, will refer to black people as monkeys, and they look at them as a peculiarity. So when Mara was in India and was convinced that he was being admired and looked at it in certain kind of ways, uh, a lot of the time the name that those people were calling him was not Baba; they were calling him Monkey in Hindi. Okay? Yet these are the people that he prefers over his own black people. What's wrong with somebody like Anne? She's beautiful. I mean, what's wrong with Kemi? She's a beautiful woman. But all of these women have one thing in common: they have a dark skin, and it's like there's a lot of self hatred in this nonsense about only seeking after white women. And I want you to consider the result of what has happened in Marwa's life, for example. You know, chasing after Bo, a young lady from Thailand. He was disrespectful to her, and she gave him a public beating. He almost ended up, he got scratched up and everything, and it was the grace of God that she didn't scratch his good eye. You know, can you imagine somebody like Anne or somebody like Hemi behaving that way toward Maura? No, no. Yeah, and on top of that, it's more than skin color. It's also a matter of being cheap. Okay, in Europe, nobody's gonna charge you anything to marry a person, be it a female or a male. Okay, but in Africa, especially among tribes like the Kuria, they're gonna expect you to pay a certain amount of cattle, and the higher the status of the woman, the more the number of cattle that have to be paid in dowry. The truth of the matter is that Marwa doesn't have a great deal of money. That's why he abandoned both of the construction projects and fled to Nairobi. He did it, with two motives. One, to be around a young white woman who, if you pay attention to the way that she acts to him, she doesn't look at him all that much. She rarely, if ever, smiles. And the only conclusion that you can come to looking at that is that fundamentally, this woman is not attracted to Mara. I predict that no marriage is going to result in between these two people. This woman is had an opportunity to take a trip to Africa and to probably get a lot of things for free. She took it, but does she mean to make a commitment to this man, a lifelong commitment to him? Absolutely not. The majority of Europeans continue to view black people as an oddity, to view black people with contempt, and yeah, they'll go ahead and they'll, spend time, they'll even go ahead and have sex. Okay, I mean, it's a known fact of anatomy that black men have big organs, and women enjoy that. But how many of these women are actually willing to make a commitment and marry a man? Okay, and I know there's somebody like Chef Matico has a Spanish wife, but again, you look at their situation, and that's just somebody who suffers from jungle fever. If you look at the way that she acts to him, she barely can stand the man. He himself complains about how rude she is to her. So, all that I want to say to my fellow